I'm standing outside of the T-Mobile Center live, and you can see, you know, they have an amazing setup outside the T-Mobile Center, the unified hoop district as it is, but they got a basketball game going. Boom, look at that, man. That's awesome. That's awesome. We have a couple hoops there and some mini games like going under the tents. This is Grand Boulevard, and all this is going all the way down Grand Boulevard. So it's a great setup for fans, for family. And then the Kansas City Power and Light District, it's from here going that way. So it's really just a great setup for the Big 12 tournament. And it's really special. And then we have the college basketball experience here, ability for fans to go check out. And yeah, just to give you all an idea who haven't been to Kansas City before, that's the setup around T-Mobile Arena. And stay tuned for coverage from TSTV the next couple of games. We got 4 games each day. So yeah, this is awesome. Just giving you all a taste of Kansas City here. Go Horns. Good evening here from the T-Mobile Center. You know, we came into this semifinals day thinking it was going to be 2 tightly contested, close games, and at the end, you know, it wasn't even like that. The first game, it was between Houston and Texas Tech, and Houston beat the tar out of Tech. I mean, the first half, it was sort of close, but the second half, Houston pulled away, you know, behind Jamal Shedd, who's been the star of Houston all year. But Houston's going to their 6th straight conference championship game, which is kind of crazy to think about. You know, Houston's 3 seniors, Jamal Shedd, Jawan Robinson, and Ryan Elvin. It was their 123rd win for the program. That's the most ever for a class that's gone through Houston. And, you know, great storyline there. But moving on to game 2, it was between Iowa State and Baylor. Iowa State's Keshawn Gilbert, he almost had a triple-double, and he really played well for the Cyclones today. And Baylor, you know, they're still locked into around a 3 seed, so no harm, no foul. I mean, obviously they'd want to win, but, you know, for Iowa State, this is huge. This is their head coach's 3rd season. They have a chance to win their first Big 12 championship, and tomorrow, you know, it's going to be packed. The players were calling it Hilton South in the Iowa State locker room afterwards, and they were ecstatic. I mean, literally 3/4 of the arena was full of Iowa State fans, and after every timeout, every shot, I mean, they would just stand up crazy like it was a Texas OU game, and, you know, that's kind of what it felt like out here. So tomorrow between Iowa State and Houston, it's going to be a very tightly contested game. I mean, we think. So, yeah, that's Ikey Kohler reporting for TSTVSports. We'll see y'all tomorrow for the finals. Now for UCF, the story coming in for the Big 12 was how would they stack up with Big 12 competition, and they proved that they've been very competitive in this conference. They've had wins over Kansas, Texas, Texas Tech, and their last game of the season was at TCU. They were able to pull that game out of the fire and got the win coming into this game. Now UCF, they're 7-11 in conference play. And, you know, they're led by their big man down low. They have one of the tallest teams in the nation. And because of that, it's going to be hard for Oklahoma State to get things going down low. And I think Oklahoma State's, they're going to have to make a lot of 3-pointers to stay in this game. They average around 8 a game. And we saw them play at Texas. They were keeping it close the entire time. And, you know, we're here for a good matchup. It's going to be a great game. The coach for UCF, Johnny Dawkins, he's been here for 7 seasons. He was elected to the 2023 Collegiate Hall of Fame class here in Kansas City last year, and so he's very experienced. And it'll be interesting. Both these teams are going to have to run the table to make the NCAA tournament. So stay tuned for coverage on TSTV Sports. I'm Ikey Kohler. What's up, y'all? I'm here from a late night from the T-Mobile Center. It was a great day of quarterfinal action. In the first game, it was between BYU and Texas Tech. And I mean this in every sense of the word. BYU was ice cold today. They just could not make a shot. There was a lid on the basket, and Tech steamrolled. They took full advantage. They're moving on to the finals. The second game of the day, it was between the #1 Houston Cougars were taking on TCU. And to put it simply, I mean, Houston just got revenge. You know, they used their consistent lineup, and they look like the #1 team out there. You know, simple, easy, Houston to the finals. I'm here on the floor of the T-Mobile Arena after a great day of round 2 action from the Big 12 tournament. We had 4 games today. Quick little recap. At 11:30, BYU took on UCF. And BYU, you know, they started out to a 21-3 run in the first 6 minutes of game, and they never really looked back. You know, a team that's 2nd in the nation and the amount of 3-pointers they take, they were taking them. They were letting them fire today. And, man, they were falling through the net. They were making them. And BYU, you know, UCF, they got close in the second half, but BYU pulled away. Now for the 2 o'clock game, It was between OU and TCU. TCU, they likely secured their spot into the NCAA tournament. They handled OU pretty well. Didn't give them too much trouble. But moving on to the third game, Kansas State took on Texas. It was kind of a home crowd for Kansas State. The atmosphere was absolutely electric. But, Texas had a 10-point lead going into half, and Kansas State was able to get back into it. And they ended up beating Texas. They were up 6 with like 3 minutes to go, and they didn't look back. And Kansas State got the win. Huge win for them. They're trying to make the tournament. And the fourth game, it was tonight. It just ended. It was between Kansas and Cincinnati. The 11th seed Cincinnati Bearcats, they were able to pull out the win. And this is a Cincinnati team. They're catching fire here, and tomorrow's game could be a win and you're in scenario. They were a team that was 12 teams outside of the bubble before the tournament started, and now, the Cincinnati Bearcats have a chance to make the NCAA tournament tomorrow as they play Baylor. And speaking of tomorrow, we got 4 more quarterfinal games coming up tomorrow from the T-Mobile Center. It's going to be amazing. Going to be a great day, so stay tuned for TSTV Sports. I'm Ikey Kohler. And the Big 12 champion has just been crowned. It was the Iowa State Cyclones. And it was a really special moment after the game. I mean, the confetti was flying everywhere. The players were happy, and then there were echoes of chants all around the arena, and it was just really a special moment. It's not very often you get to take part in a trophy ceremony and celebration, and for Iowa State, it's their 3rd Big 12 championship since 2019, and TJ Otzelberger's first as Iowa State head coach, and so that's great for their program moving forward. And for Houston, it's a tough loss. It was the least amount of points they've scored all year, but there'll still be a 1 seed for the NCAA tournament. Just kind of an off performance for them. Iowa State was just very stingy on defense, but yeah, it was a great tournament. 13 games in 5 days, and it was awesome being able to cover every game and every team. And Iowa State are the 2024 Big 12 champions. That's all from Kansas City. I'm Ikey Kohler with TSTV Sports. What's up, y'all? I'm here after an amazing win by Cincinnati. They were able to pull it out against West Virginia. It was 90-85, but it did not look like they were going to pull it out. They were down 16 in the second half, and all of a sudden, Cincinnati, they just started nailing threes. Day Thomas and Seamus Lukosius, they were absolutely on fire. And Lukosius, his previous season high in points was 19. His season high in threes was 5 threes. He nailed 7 or 8 threes, and he had over 30 points. And it's similar statistics for Day Thomas as they were able to will the Cincinnati Bearcats back into the game. I talked to Dan Skillings Jr. After the game, who had 13 points and 5 rebounds for Cincinnati, and he basically said that they got back to playing Cincinnati basketball, and that was really important for them, and it helped how hot they were down the stretch, but they were absolutely ecstatic to keep their season alive and keep playing.